you need these journal prompts to keep you going, to get momentum and drive results. And if you're brand new or thinking about starting a weight loss journey, you need these prompts to get you started so you can assess your ground zero, so where you are right now with these same questions, and then use them each week to see how you're progressing. Hey everybody, it's Amanda Ford, and today we're going to be talking about journal prompts to spark weight loss momentum and drive results. So you've started a weight loss journey. You are working to clean up your routine, eat within a calorie budget, and have added in daily movement. That is incredible. Those are the foundational actions that you need to take to be successful in a weight loss journey. And if you've been listening to the Health Hobby podcast for a while now, you've got all the tools you need to get your goals into your hands and actually cross the finish line or get to that first milestone or second milestone. I've been giving you all the tools and resources to do that. So don't forget to check out the free resources vault where I keep most of my free resources. I do need to add a few more in there, but most episodes also have resources linked there in the show notes as well. And if you're looking for something in particular that I may have mentioned that there was a free resource from and you can't find it, just shoot me a DM over on Instagram and I'll send you the link. No problem. You can find me on Instagram at the Health Hobby Podcast. Okay, so getting back to today's topic. So journal prompts to spark weight loss momentum and drive results. You've started working on your healthy lifestyle to lose weight and get strong and get fit. It's so exciting, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it when people get motivated to take care of their health. You've morphed into being your very own weight loss coach because you've got the tools and resources, a strategy lined up, a plan. And really, you guys, when you listen to the Health Hobby podcast, it's my goal that you are able to really develop the skills to become your own weight loss coach. I am happy to work with you one-to-one, but ultimately I want you to be able to navigate the kitchen. I want you to be able to build skills and the knowledge to focus on fitness and shift your fitness and build a fitness plan. I want you to know how and feel capable and confident to track your calories and shift your calorie budget as you go through your journey. And I know you can do that because you're a mom boss. You do a million things. You have the ability to do this. And that is my goal, really. That is what I did for myself. That's why I call the podcast the Health Hobby, because I really just made it my hobby to learn all these skills. I threw fad diets away and I wanted to find out what is, science-backed ways that I can do this that are actually going to work every single time. And that's what I teach on the Health Hobby podcast. So you have everything you need if you've been listening for a while. If you're new here, go back and listen. There's over 20 plus episodes for you to dive into to get you those strategies and skills. Okay, so you've been working through your strategy and you've seen some results and you have experienced some setbacks. That's totally normal. Or maybe you're really struggling. You may have even been crushing it and are riding high on momentum. If that's the case, you are incredible and everyone's incredible. But if that's the case, then keep doing exactly what you're doing. But no matter your circumstances, you should be doing a weekly check-in. Even if you're like riding high, like you're like, I got this, I want you to be doing a weekly check-in on your weight loss journey. Especially so if you're feeling stuck, like something isn't working and you feel like it should. You're like, I got this tight plan. I've been meal planning. I don't know what to do. What should I do? So as a seasoned weight loss coach, I want to give you a little insider knowledge to help you on your journey. Today, I'll be going over prompts I would ask you in our weekly check-ins if I were to personally mentor you through weight loss. These are the exact questions I would talk you through. And I'm not giving you everything because those check-ins would be, more of a dialogue, a conversation. So there's a lot more depth and robust answers that could come out and questions that could come out if we were having a conversation together. So talking through these questions is super beneficial. But if you're DIYing your weight loss journey, getting into a journaling routine to help guide your progress is a must. This is a form of tracking. I talk about tracking on almost every single episode. At least it seems that way. Tracking your calories, tracking your fitness, tracking your weight, tracking your body measurements, tracking your moods, your sleep, your water intake. I could go on and on and on and on, and not to overwhelm you, but really to emphasize that this weight loss thing, when taken seriously, is going to be weaving into your full life. It's a deep commitment and connection to all the things you do or are not doing each day. It's really about decision making, and it can be overwhelming and hard. And that's why I want to bring this journaling routine into your life. Something to remember: most of the time, we all know what to do. And when we fall short, it's usually not a strategy or plan that is the culprit, especially for busy moms. It's usually something deeper. Outside forces and circumstances have a way of doing this, and that's because we have this beautiful God-given instinct to take care of everything and everyone else. So again, tracking is a must. It's super important. Why? You can't fix what you don't know. If you don't have data or information to pivot and shift from or towards, you won't see progress. So today, it's going to be like a private one-to-one coaching session with me. We'll talk through each question here together, and I will share some examples to help you move along in answering your questions on your own. So go grab a journal, go to Target, get a fresh new journal. I want you to start a brand new journal dedicated to your weight loss routine. And you can use the notes app on your phone if you want, if you're more into that. And if possible, though, I would recommend that you write with pen and paper, as I want this to be a tactile and physical experience, is that it will really help connect the dots more when we write things down. In fact, I handwrite my workout routine every single week, and I handwrite my weight progression every week. I handwrite little notes to myself on my weekly plan, because it just really makes it more solid and set in stone when I do that. So if possible, do this with a true paper journal and pen or pencil, whatever. I'll be posting the video version of this on YouTube. That's going to have slides of each question. It's going to be my second actual video workshop that I post on YouTube. I hope to get that done sooner rather than later, but feel free to save this episode and come back to it each week on whatever day you decide is your check-in day, so you can just listen through and use the prompts as your guide. If I was doing a check-in with you as my client, I want you to always know that this is not just us going through the motions, asking generic questions. There is a purpose behind each question and the routine of checking in. The purposes of checking in are to identify, celebrate, shift, and plan. So we want to identify wins and celebrate. This drives your motivation and confidence. We want to identify gaps in your journey throughout the week where you have opportunities to improve. We want to identify roadblocks so we can make a plan to shift away from them for the next week. We also want to identify scheduling challenges. So this is important because we can see, after we do this exercise together, what's keeping you schedule-wise from consistently taking action on your plan. And we want to do a brief look ahead to make adjustments to your schedule for the upcoming week to ensure you're hitting your targets. So things happen. We're busy moms. I mean, this is just the last week of school this week as I am recording this. The schedule this week was off the hook crazy. I still had to go to work, regular routine, commute to the hospital and back. One kid got out at 2:15. The other kid got out at 12:50. I couldn't remember. I even put it on the calendar. I got one of them wrong. One of them had an awards night. One of them did it. One of them stayed after school the day I didn't know. I mean, it was like really crazy. And it's just like looking ahead to see, okay, what's different or what's normal in the week to come. And then you can move around your life and your healthy living plan, your action plan, your weight loss plan to accommodate you, not the other way around. Because when we do it the other way around, we're like trying to make the life fit into the weight loss schedule. It just doesn't, it's not going to work. It's frustrating. It's chaotic. It's just a bad idea. So I like to flip the script and say, okay, how am I going to shift where my workouts are because of the schedule this week? Or do I need to skip? Or can I do something else instead of that? Or is eating going to be really difficult this week? Do I need to really focus on meal plan because I have a bunch of meetings and they're going to be catered? I mean, you need to look ahead. And this is our opportunity to do that during your weekly check-in. Finally, this process turns your focus towards non-scale wins and non-scale goals to focus on. So it's not always about that number, you guys. I love when the number's going down. I love when your body measurements are going down, but we need to focus on the non-scale wins and the non-scale actions that get us to focus on a healthy lifestyle too. And I hate to say it, it's so cliche, but it is a lifestyle. Okay. It's like a lifestyle. Like you have to put yourself in that mindset that you are that mom that prioritizes healthy living actions every single day. You are that mom. If you don't put yourself in that space, you will not be that person and you will not hit your weight loss goals. So every day I want you to say, I am that person. I'm that person. And I get up, I drink water, I don't skip my breakfast, and just little things like that. Put yourself, envision yourself as that woman, as that mom. All these women on social media always, I get up at 5 a.m. and I do this and I do that. Don't watch that, okay? You need to do what is good for you. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. and show everybody on social media that you're putting on your sports bra and then you're putting on your lotion and then you sit in your corner and you meditate. Those are all really cool. And I definitely watch them because they're in my feed. But they get old and they can be kind of defeating because you're like, shoot, like I can't do that. Like I can't do all that crap every morning. I just try to do a little bit. I try to be 100%, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And that's why we need to do these check-ins. So put yourself into what you think a healthy life, like what do you look like? What are you doing every day that's going to get you to your weight loss goals? I just want you to think about that and envision yourself as that mom, not these perfect social media moms that are totally fake. Okay. Their life is not that simple. It's not. We all know that. In fact, I wish it was like illegal to post stuff like that because it's just so frustrating. I do think that it's inspiring sometimes and like might motivate you to, have a more regimented routine because I do like that it's regimented, but it's just, you need to focus on you. And one reason I know you're watching me on social media right now, but like I took an 8-month social media sabbatical and it was the best thing I ever did. So I'm going to do an episode on that eventually. But listen, you need to focus on you and put yourself in that place where you are that woman, that mom that can handle this, because it's like you can handle everything else. And like women come to me and they're like, I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. I was like, well, you can handle all your other crap. Like, I know you can do this. Like, I'm plain and simple. I'm not trying to sound spicy about it. I just really believe and know that you can do this because you can do 27 different baseball schedules that keep changing every single week. Why do they do that? I don't know. A teenager that tells you they're coming home and they don't come home and then you're like waiting to pick them up. A work schedule that shifts, or maybe you have to work an extra 2 hours because I work at a hospital. I don't work in the OR anymore, but maybe the cases are going long and so you have to stay and like the person didn't show up for night shift. All these different things can happen. And it's totally fine and normal. So this is why we do these check-ins. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here, and you're probably going to identify a bunch of areas for improvement. But what I'm going to encourage you to do at the end, and I'll talk about this more later, is to just identify a couple things to improve, tiny things on how you can plug them in to your next week so you can achieve those shifts. I'll talk about that again a little bit, but they need to be really, really small changes. So as you go through this might kind of blow up in your face as being like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. Well, that's good. It's fun to have so much work to do. Now you have a project and it's exciting to get through that project. It's right. You eat the elephant like one bite at a time, right? That's like that little saying. We are going to focus on just particular items in each little category that you can plug in and move the needle just slightly. So I don't want you to start having an anxiety attack as we work through this. If you happen to have a bunch of stuff that comes up, we want this stuff to come up, and it's okay for it to come up because when we know about it, we can shift away from it if it's something that's negative or impacting our success. So let's get into these journal prompts to spark weight loss momentum and drive results. If I can be honest with you, I am not so great at the whole journaling thing. There's always like, you should journal, you should do this, you should do a gratitude journal. I get full-blown writer's block and my perfectionism comes in super hard. I'm always feeling like someone may read it. And if they read it, I want it to be written perfectly, or there's so much to write about. What if I didn't write down the right stuff for the day, or if I got something important? I get like all in my head about it. So before we get into these specific prompts, I want you to take just a few moments and do a 2 to 5 minute free write. It can be a list. It can be a full multiple paragraphs. If you write easily, it just comes out. That's fine. But write about your week in weight loss. Literally just brain dump on the page. Grammar, punctuation, and spelling can all go out the window. Just get the pen to paper. And if you only do it for 2 minutes, that's fine. If you only do it for 2.5 minutes, totally fine too. Set a timer. I don't want it to be more than 5 minutes of your life to do this particular free write. And if you're feeling stuck, like I often get stuck, feel free to like doodle flowers or peace signs or hearts. That's what I'm always doodling, just to get your pen to paper and start warming you up. Or, put on some motivating music and maybe that kind of gets the juices flowing. So I'm going to read you my free write from last week as an example, but this is your journal. Remember that it does not need to resemble what I wrote or my tone, my writing flow. And a behind the scenes thing that I'll just let you in on, I actually send emails to myself when I do this so I can read them in the future as reminders in a refocus tool. So that's a really cool trick that you can do. You can even schedule the email to send to you maybe the next week. So you can be like, oh yeah, that's me telling myself, reminding myself of what happened the week before. And just kind of a fun little easy trick that you can do. So here is my free write for the week. And we can utilize this free write to help with the rest of our prompts as we go through this exercise. Here's my free write from my week 1 of my weight loss journey. So if you're not following my weight loss journey visually, if you just hear about it on here, make sure to follow me over on the Health Hobby Podcast. Give me a follow and you can follow my personal journey. I'm working to lose 20 pounds. I'm not sure I'm going to hit 20 pounds because I do a lot of strength training, but I do have plans on really shifting my body composition. So here I go, and go you if you're working on similar goals. So here's my free write for my weight loss check-in for last week. So it says, the last week was successful in my weight loss and the weight loss business I'm working to develop. The podcast is catching steam and it feels good. My schedule was a big challenge last week with different pickup schedules with the kids and a few days where I ended up going to work late because of a spill in my car that needed to be cleaned as soon as possible. And then also just driving the kids to school in the morning, which is outside of my usual routine. I ended up not having my smoothie breakfast on Wednesday because it spilled all over the backseat of my car, which is a true story. It was a complete nightmare. So I veered off my meal plan and had a bagel and avocado when I ran back home to switch cars after that happened. This wasn't a total bust for my meal plan. I just hadn't been eating gluten to help with my bloating and to help move my blood sugar into a better regulation per my doctor's orders. I stayed within my calorie budget that day though, so that was great. Overall, I was totally able to stick with my workouts all week. I had a little pushback from my husband about my Saturday morning workout because of construction going on at the house, but we worked through that. I did feel pretty guilty about being at the gym, but ended up sending him a text explaining how I felt, and all is well. Overall, I really hope to increase my weight on my 3x3x3 workouts and feel much more able to do them during the week versus my longer workouts. So sidebar, if you don't know what my 3x3x3 workouts are, I will link to it in this episode. It's not in the free resources vault yet. It's 3 days a week, 3 moves, 3 sets. It takes no more than 15 minutes. And the purpose of it is to just make sure that you can maintain and you're moving, you're getting in some strength training during the week and not freaking out because you can't get to the gym and do like a crazy hour workout. It's very simple. They're great moves and it's super easy to maintain. And that's my goal for you at first. There's phases into this, you guys. Like, I want to get your momentum fired up and your confidence built and strong. So I want you to download that 3x3x3 workout. A bunch of people have already got it. They love it. They're being consistent. They feel good. Their energy levels are skyrocketed. They're excited because I've actually been able to maintain this workout routine. You have to get it. So back into my free write. My Sunday eating was a bit off. I didn't eat or drink any water until 12 noon, which was not great. I was working on my social media. I skipped church, which I shouldn't have, and didn't take time to make myself a good meal. I stayed within my calorie budget, but it was all with crappy foods. I also had 2 beers in the afternoon, which didn't feel great the next day. I wasn't hungover, but was bloated and uncomfortable the following day. I had even gained a couple of pounds, and I know it's because of the beer. It's really not worth it. And if I do have a beer, I can't have more than 1 beer, or I think even just a half would be the max. My neck and my back continue to be sore and tight, extremely uncomfortable. I really need to walk every day during work for the full length of my route to get unstuck from my working positions. It may be good to even add on my physical therapy routine on days that I currently don't have it written on my schedule. My weekly written healthy living planner is really helpful for me to stay focused. So that was my free write. I think it took me 3 minutes to write all that. And it wasn't perfectly put together. It was just kind of like a summary recap of what I could remember and what really stood out to me during the week. It doesn't have to be every little thing that happened to you. Just write for 2 to 5 minutes and see what comes out. So that is step 1. So the next prompt that I would give you is a pretty general question just to kind of get our juices flowing and just kind of to open up the conversation to get a little bit more detailed. So I want you to write down what part of your journey this week felt easy. So what was easy? Were you really motivated to get up early and work out? Was that easy for you? Was it easy for you to prep your snacks for work? Was it easy for you to get your walks in? It really could be anything. Everyone's answers will be their own, but just think about what did you just really crush and nail this week? And you want to make sure that you focus on that. This is a win. Maybe it was just even on one day. You're like, one of these days, I kept my calorie budget and I drank all my water, or I just drank enough water. Maybe that was the only thing you felt was easy for you, was like getting your water, and everything else was hard. That's okay too. We want to find these things that you're really, really good at because we know that you can maintain those. And in the next question, you can probably guess what we're going to ask here. And that question is, what part of your week felt hard? Now, this can be a giant can of worms. I do recommend maybe just using a list format if you have things to place here. Most of us will. And again, it could be anything. Maybe getting up to do your workout was hard. Maybe sticking to your meal plan was hard during the week because of your work schedule, or, work got busy and you didn't eat your lunch and then you were super hungry and you had intense cravings. That was hard. Maybe learning the new fitness routine that I offered you just a minute ago, the 3x3, maybe that was hard because you've never worked out before and you were confused. Or maybe being honest with your husband or your parents that maybe you're helping with the kids and the pickups because it got missed. I don't know. It could be anything. What was hard for you? You felt that kept you from being consistent this week. It doesn't even mean maybe you were consistent, but it's literally, it could be anything. I can't tell you what it's going to be because this answer is your own. And if we were having this conversation face to face in a one-to-one check-in, I would, dive a little bit deeper into this question, but we're going to kind of peel the layers back on this one as we get through these other questions, and you'll see here in a second. Okay, we're going to jump into some categories, and we're going to first start with wellness. So really quick, before we start answering these questions, it's helpful to know that your answers don't have to be perfect. It's okay to not know an answer also. You can write that down. Be like, look, I don't really know right now. And the other really cool thing is, I said this just a moment ago, is that you can reference your free write to help you journaling for the rest of the session. So if you're feeling stuck, or maybe you're like, hey, what did I say in the free write? Could that help me? Always go back and look at that. And that was one reason why we did that at the beginning. Another helpful tip is if you and I were in a session together, we would be having a dialogue about your answers and these questions. So it's helpful to think about that. And like, how would I answer this if I were speaking out loud to Amanda versus just writing in this journal? And I would typically, as your coach, I would ask you more questions to help clarify your answers. Your answers are unique, so whatever you say is great, but thinking about what your answers would be like if you were talking to me or to someone is helpful in getting out these answers. And finally, I have to say this before we dive in. Honesty is the best policy. Don't hold back here because you just want to see all the positive answers. This is not how we make progress. You need to spill your own tea all over this exercise if necessary. And it may sting a little bit, it might be a little harsh, but I'm not encouraging you to be mean to yourself or bully you or talk down negative to yourself, but we need to be honest in our answers. So it will only help you in the long run. Remember, we're looking to identify areas of opportunity for you to shift towards ease of consistency. So in these first few slides, I'm going to be asking you to rate some wellness categories, some wellness experiences from the previous week. So it's a 1 to 5 rating, and 1 is the lowest, high is the highest. So I love numbers, but in your journal, you can use a star system for this. So if you like to doodle, I like to draw. So any reason for me to like draw a star or a heart or whatever, I am going to do it. But you could do 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 5 star, whatever, or you can just use the numbers. But I thought that was a little fun thing to add there if you want to do star rating instead. We want to see that these ratings move towards 5s being the highest over time. First question is, in our wellness experience for the week, on a scale of 1 to 5, what was your energy level this week on average? So on a scale of 1 to 5, was it low? Was it super high? So I want you to rate that. Give it a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Remember, 1's the lowest, 5's the highest. And then I want you to answer a supplemental question. What actions did you take to reach peak energy this week? So even if you didn't feel like you were super energized, I want to know, did you attempt to feel energized? So did you get up? Did you maintain your walking routine? Did you really try to hit your walking routine? Did you try to go to bed on time? Did you reduce your caffeine intake? Think of things that you did to spark and encourage increased energy. One of the things that's really fun about a weight loss journey, and when we start fitness and we start eating cleaner, we start moving our bodies more. That's what we do on a weight loss journey. And we start to get energized. And one of the problems for busy moms is that we're always the E word, exhausted, and double E word, extremely exhausted. So anything that we can do to peak our energy is really helpful in weight loss journeys because we are putting more extra effort and energy into the weight loss journey. So I want you guys to feel good. And this is something that you should be focusing on. Again, it's not all about the scale. I want you to your energy to increase. It's a huge win when you have more energy. I mean, life is so much better and so much more enjoyable. Our next wellness prompt, again, it's a scale to 1 to 5 at first, and then we'll answer a supplemental question. On a scale of 1 to 5, what was your mood level this week on average? Again, 1 the lowest, 5 the highest. Go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or do that star rating. And then I want you to answer, what actions did you take to support positive moods this week? You might be wondering, what does this have to do with weight loss? Just like the energy question, it has a lot to do with it. We can't always be positive, you guys, like things happen, but our moods is a metric that we should be measuring, because as we are finding routines and living our healthy routines and revamping how we think about ourselves and how we communicate with people, all of that is in a weight loss journey, because your mindset will start to shift. The way that your brain, it starts to be more clear. Things really shift mentally and internally at a cellular level that we need to really check on these wellness aspects. So for example, if you're answering this question, how did you support positive moods? Well, did you work to not skip any meals? So maybe you didn't eat on your calorie budget, but you didn't skip any meals. A lot of moms skip breakfast. Some moms don't even eat until it's almost dinner time because they're so busy doing stuff, or they just like maybe have a granola bar, or like, I remember when the kids were toddlers, you just like eat the leftovers and that's all you had. And you wonder why you're starving at dinner time and you like overeat the pantry at night. So not skipping meals is something that can keep your energy level, nice and even. And it also can help with your moods. So you're not having these like ups and downs in energy. So your moods are also a lot more stable and positive. Or maybe you went to bed on time, or maybe you cut out alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. So reducing alcohol or eliminating alcohol can be a really big driver in supporting positive moods. And maybe you meditated one day and that was helpful. Maybe you implemented a prayer routine. Your answer is your own. Maybe you did none of those things. That's okay. But like, I didn't do anything for this wellness space this week, and that's okay. Our next wellness question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how well did you sleep this week? Like, you felt rested when you woke up. So a scale 1 to 5. And our supplemental question to that is, what actions did you take to support a healthy sleep routine? Again, the scale is 1 to 5. Do a star rating if you want. Some things you might say is like, I set a timer on my phone to go to bed at 9 o'clock every night and I stuck to it. Or I didn't look at my cell phone in bed. I didn't doom scroll in bed before I went to sleep. I put my phone aside, set the alarm, turned the lights off, and just went to bed. Or maybe you did a wind down routine. You're like, I shut the screens off. I turned the TV off a little bit earlier and had some tea and just kind of calmed down. It really could be anything. Your answer is your own, again, or maybe you did nothing to support healthy sleep, and that's information that we'll use to progress into the next week. So we're still in the wellness category here. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how well did you manage your stress this week? In our supplemental question, you can probably guess, what actions did you take to support stress management? So maybe you didn't do this. Maybe you got mad at your husband or something frustrated you at work and you just felt it like fester and like get under your skin and you were mad all week and you just let it bother you. Maybe when you should have brought it up and faced what was going on and just worked it out and talked it out. Usually a quick, this is how I'm perceiving something, or this is challenging for me with your boss or with your husband or a friend or anyone. Those simple conversations can usually rectify everything. So communication in a nice, tactful way can usually be a hugely helpful tool to manage stress. So, or did you pack on too much in your calendar? So this is like, no, I didn't do that. I did 0 actions to support stress management. I packed too much into my calendar. That's a fine answer. Or maybe you had low stress and you have big wins. So I'm proud of you. Now that we've reviewed and kind of hashed out each wellness area, I want you to pick out one action you can take next week to improve wellness. So these things all kind of melt together. So I just want you to pick one action you would like to work on next week to bring your star ratings. So the one action thing is, I call these actions positive shift actions. They're tiny actions. They're not massive. So an example would be, maybe you had poor sleep rating this week. So totally fine. This is a big one for most busy moms. Perhaps this week your positive shift action can be to set a wind down time by going into the bedroom 15 minutes earlier than usual and have some tea. I'm just making stuff up and trying to, it can be whatever you want, but it needs to support, okay, you're like, I'm looking to support better sleep this week. Or maybe you turn off the screens an hour before bed and turn the lights down in the house. Get creative. Next week, we can check in and see how that worked for you. Whatever it is, make sure it's a very small shift. Nothing that would require a massive overhaul of your lifestyle. If it's too big, you won't do it. Okay, now we're going to be stepping into nutrition. So if I was coaching you one-to-one, I would be reviewing your food journals and we would be doing a deep dive together about managing your budget, your calorie budget, and shifting macronutrients to better suit you. But these are some high-level questions to get you started. The goal here is to build a healthy relationship with your food routine and begin to be aware of how food is making you feel. So I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to answer this question. This is a simple one. What are 3 foods or meals that you ate this week that made you feel really good? So I really like it. I really love it when I have my morning protein shake. Like I feel good when I drink that. I've dialed it in and kind of eliminated some things that I was putting in it that was making me bloated and not feeling great. Now I have this like stellar smoothie that I have every single morning that makes me feel so good. And when I don't have it, I'm like, oh shoot, like that was a real bummer. I also really like to have fresh fruit and I love eating salads. So these things make me feel really good and I feel good and positive emotionally when I'm eating them. So think about what you ate this week that kind of sparked that jazz for nutrition in your meal planning and in your calorie budgeting and tracking in your nutrition space for the week. So on the flip side, you should assess what are 3 foods or meals you ate this week that made you feel not so good. So an example would be I ate spaghetti and garlic bread one night and I was super fatigued and bloated after for a couple days. Like it just really sat with you and it tasted good, but it just didn't really fuel your energy or your weight loss goals in that sense. Maybe you tried a new healthy recipe in your meal plan and it just didn't taste great. And you're like, that's not really motivating me. That wasn't a win. I want you to avoid foods that make you feel crappy or just aren't motivating you to feel your best. So it's important to call these out. This one is a quick answer and it should be easy to figure out if you're tracking your calories. And the question is, how many days this week did you stick to your calorie budget? So ideally it is 7 days a week. And some people live in the philosophy of having a cheat day. I don't teach to that. I think you should just eat whatever you want. A little backstory. Yesterday I had Taco Bell. There's like 0 food in my house. It is grocery day. We like went through every single thing I bought, which doesn't usually happen. So I was pretty proud of us, but I'm not going grocery shopping until today. So I was so tired. I just got back from the gym and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I just went to Taco Bell. It's fine. I tracked my food and I still stayed within my calorie budget. It wasn't great. It's not super nutritious. I'm not proud of it. I ate it. Okay, whatever. But that's kind of like how I navigate things. I'm not big on like, okay, one day you can just blow this out of the water because a lot of times that can be detrimental. So I coach to always trying to stick to your calorie budget no matter what. That is one thing that I am pretty strict on when I'm coaching, but I'm more flexible about what you're eating because it teaches you how to portion and make decisions. Like I took a lot of time. I went on the Taco Bell app and made some decisions on what I was going to eat based on the calories that it said they were. And I was fine. I made a fine decision. It, again, not super nutritious, not what I would usually have for dinner, but it worked. So how many days did you hit your calorie budget this week? Okay, our next question in the nutrition space is if you missed any days, list the circumstances that caused you to veer off your budget. Again, we're identifying roadblocks. It's not a big deal if this happened multiple days or every day, and don't be afraid to get really serious here. You may write something as simple as, I wanted nachos, so I ate them, and I didn't care that I went over my budget. Like, you need to be truthful with yourself. Or you skipped breakfast a couple days and you became super hungry later in the day, which made it harder for you to manage your nighttime cravings. Or maybe you're PMSing. This is a big one for me. I get so hungry when I'm PMSing, like starving. Okay, that's hard for me. Did something stress you out and you opted to eat even though you didn't need to eat? Like maybe you did some stress eating. Don't hold back, you guys. You need to know what's pushing you off track. When it comes to your eating routine, what one shift do you want to make to support maintaining your calorie budget next week? Again, listen to what I said. I said one. There's probably multiple things you want to do. I know there's multiple things I want to do, but I want you to keep it simple. So is it increase your water intake? And it doesn't have to be meeting your water intake, being perfect. It's like, I just need to start working towards it. Maybe it's, I'm going to pack my snacks for work every single day. And that's you getting in the routine of bringing your food to work. Maybe it's not skipping breakfast. And then everything else can go out the window. But if you can hit that for next week, you have made huge strides, okay? Or maybe it's try a new healthy recipe or use your food scale more frequently. Again, it could be a million other things. Your answers are your own. It doesn't have to be a full meal plan overhaul. These are tiny opportunities for you to find big wins. So list one thing you can do to start maintaining your calorie budget more frequently and more often next week. So when you answer the question, how many days did you hit your calorie budget? Hopefully it is 7. Now we're going to shift into something that a lot of people skip over when it comes to weight loss coaching. This is something that is really important to me. In fact, I even speak to it in the intro of this podcast. I say healthy living time management. And that's because as busy moms, we kind of go crazy and it's chaotic when there's a lot going on. And all of that chaos of everyone else's schedule impacts our ability to take care of ourselves emotionally and mentally. But if we have weight loss goals, it can really be detrimental if we don't focus on our time management and healthy living. So our next question is schedule related. Did any scheduling challenges come up that veered you off course from your eating routine or workout? So I want you to think about this. How was your schedule? Were you on the money? Was it fine this week? Did it really work out? If that's great, I want you to write that down because you'll be able to look back and see, okay, last week was really good. So that was something I should repeat. If there was meetings that came up, if there was a shift in your kid's sports schedule, how did that affect you? And you can even write down like ideas. If this happens, how can I fix it next time? There are ideas. You might not be able to do that. No ideas are bad, but just write down anything that veered you off schedule if that happened this week. So here's another place where I want you to, identify some things. So identify one schedule shift you can make to encourage progress and consistency for next week. So one of the examples, you got to be honest, you guys, if you packed your schedule in and you're really noticing as we work through this, like you have a lot of work to do, the scheduling piece can really be a big game changer. I really recommend you go back and listen to episode number 2 if you're having problems with this, because having a healthy living focus in your calendar and shifting your calendar so you do have time is important. So I want you to be able to have time to do your workouts and maybe cook a little bit more if you're not used to cooking. So you have to be honest and you have to be flexible and you have to be brave if you need to ask for help. You need to tell people, this is my goal. I need you to help me do this. Or can you take over this task for me? Can you delegate some things to your husband or to your sister or to your neighbor, to your parents? It doesn't have to be everything. Maybe it's just one day. You're like, hey, neighbor, maybe you give them a bottle of wine every month and you really trust your neighbor. And you're like, hey, can you watch my kids for an hour, one day a week so I can just make sure I get this one workout in because it's the day that you're really struggling to get it done for whatever reason. Get flexible, get creative. Don't feel like you have to be perfect every single time. You want to try for that, but making these tiny shifts so you're just making some sort of progress every day is what we're looking for. Now we're going to be shifting into our questions about fitness. So before I get into this, these questions are kind of specific to how I would coach you. So the context, you might be like, well, where's that coming from? Well, I would encourage you to do these things that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So when following my programs, you will be encouraged to walk every single day and nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be fast. We are just working to hit that 10,000 step per day volume of steps. You don't have to hit 10,000 every day, but you're just working towards increasing your step count every day because you'll eventually get there. And here's the thing, when I hit 10K, I can definitely feel it. I can tell, and my weight loss results are much better. Again, I don't hit 10K every day. I don't. But what I do is I walk every single day and I put intention and action towards getting increased step counts. Because a little side note, I did an experiment with myself. I was like, okay, if I didn't put in these walks into my work schedule in particular, because I always walk every Saturday and Sunday with my dog. If I didn't put in these walks I booked them into my work schedule. So at 12, it says walk. Like I can't have meetings that time. I mean, sometimes I move it around, but it literally pops up. It's like, okay, it's time to walk, which is great. But if I didn't do that, I did an experiment. I wore my Apple Watch and I did not walk more than like 2,000 steps the entire day, which is crazy because I'm sitting working. That's like barely moving, you guys. And that's how most of Americans are. So I want you to be better than average. I want you to be more than average. I want you to be a top tier 1%er. And I want you to be getting towards 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, eventually 10,000 steps a day. And you can do that by a variety of ways. But one of the ways that I really encourage you to do it is by just setting time to do a 1 to 2 mile walk every single day. Tracking this is so important. And I use my Apple Watch, like I said, and if I am not wearing that, I use an app called Map My Run. It's a MyFitnessPal app. It's an Under Armour app, to track my steps and my distance. But ideally, you have a fitness wearable and you are tracking all your steps all day. So I know there's a bunch out there. I use an Apple Watch for that. It's not meant for you to put a ton of effort into these walks. It's just really important for me to emphasize daily movement. And especially if you work full time, like I said, in an office like I do, this is a non-negotiable part of your journey. At this point, I would be asking you, how many days in the week did you get in your walks? And how many steps did you take daily and or how far did you walk daily? You would be tracking and you would know. And if this is a new concept for you, I kind of already went through what I would recommend, scheduling it into your workday. Sometimes people do them in the morning or after work. Some people split the walking time. So like on your morning break and your afternoon break, or maybe you walk a mile in the morning before work and walk after dinner with the family. There's a lot of different ways to increase your step count. If you have a standing desk, that helps too, because you're moving around a little bit more. I mean, even those tiny shifts, one of the tiniest shift that I made, this is going to sound so ridiculous, is I have a printer right at my desk. Like I barely have to move my body to grab the paper. I started printing everything I needed out in the hallway copy machine. So I have to physically get up if I'm sitting down and walk to the copy machine. And it's not that far. It's, I don't know, 5-6 feet away, but I physically have to get up and stand up and go grab the papers. Simple, tiny things. How can you get more steps in every day? I started parking at the very farthest spot I could at the hospital instead of parking right in front of my office. There's a parking spot literally right in front of my office that is open every single day. That's almost directly in front of my door. I don't do that anymore. I park at the very corner of the hospital that is super far away. And it's about, I don't know, it's like a fourth of a mile. Again, not super far, but it is way farther than it was when I'm just like right in front of my door. Simple things. You can do that at the grocery store as well, or when you drop off your kids. I know I used to always want to be like right at the front at pickup. So there was a time where I would park deep in the neighborhood and I would walk to go get my kids. And it would also give them a little time to get energy out as we walked back to the car. So think about how you can get in those steps. We're going to talk about that question here in just a second. So I think I kind of gave away our next question, and is, if you struggled to get your walks done, how can you get creative to ensure consistency? So I got excited and just started talking. So I just went over some ways that you can do that. Park far away from your office, park at the very farthest end of the grocery store parking lot. At Costco, Costco is crazy busy in Sonoma County. I just park as far away as I can. And it really helps with my stress when I go, because it's like, I'm trying to find a parking spot and there's no parking and there's traffic. Nope. I just park far away where there's always a parking spot. And then I just walk in and I've gotten extra steps and whatever, So get creative and be flexible, because there might be ways you're like, it has to be like this. No, it doesn't. My perfect world scenario, for example, is walking every single day at work on my lunch, like I've already shared. Because I track this and I've seen a pattern, I'm usually not able to get a full walk in on Wednesdays. And due to my work and the kids' pickup schedule, sometimes I even skip these walks, which that's not okay in my book. So this is a place where I can be flexible and get creative. Can I shorten my route those days so I'm doing something instead of nothing? Can I do a couple laps around the hospital at 2 different times a day instead of doing my full neighborhood route that I usually walk? Can I squeeze in an afternoon walk after work? Should I walk earlier in the morning? Should I get a walking pad in my office? That's a goal that I have. But listen, get creative, and no idea is dumb, even if it sounds impossible right now. Okay, this next question is about your strength training. Again, this is specific to how I coach you. So, did you get 3 strength training sessions in this week? And are you feeling stronger progressing in your weights? This is really specific to a strength training program. And again, I at the beginning of the episode, I did mention that I have a program called the Just 3 workout method. It's 3 days a week, 3 sets, 3 moves. And ideally, you would be using dumbbells and weight. Some of them are body weight moves, but ideally, you're using dumbbells and you are increasing your weight each week because you're getting stronger. And even if I were to give you a more robust strength training routine, that would be the intention. We always want to be lifting more, not unsafely, but we want to be lifting heavy. Heavy is good. Heavy burns more calories. Heavy is better for your building muscles and strong bones. And of course, we always want to do it safely. But this is something that I would be asking you. I would be diving in deeper with you if we were having a true one-to-one coaching session. So I'd want to see your frequency. Like, did you get in those strength training workouts, and how successful have you been in progressing in your weights? If you struggled to get your workouts done, this is our next question. How can you get creative to ensure consistency? So just like moving more with walking, you have to get creative and flexible. Sometimes it can't be our perfect world solution. In fact, my perfect world strength training solution is me going to the gym 6 days a week. This is what I used to do when I was at my ultimate fittest. 6 days a week for almost 2 hours. I kid you not. I would be at the gym at 4:30 in the morning and I would leave at 6:30. And I had a lot more energy then. I was a lot younger, but I did it every single week and I was super fit. And it's my favorite thing. It's one of my favorite things to do. And people might be like, whoa, you spent 2 hours at the gym. It's like my happy place. Okay. That's my perfect world situation. Now things have shifted in our family schedule. I'm older. I have different energy levels that I'm trying to manage. I have a different work schedule. I work out of town now. All these different things. I go to a different gym. My gym opens a little bit too late for me to get there that early. And plus I can't get up that early anymore. That's really difficult for me. I know this isn't about me. I'm just sharing scenarios because I know there's similar things going on with you guys. So that is what actually prompted me to make this Just 3 workout method, because I was like, hey, I just need to get something done. And it just needs to be simple so I can get it done and get it on with the morning and get to the office. And then on the weekends or on Fridays, when I have a little bit more flexibility with my time, I treat myself to a longer gym session if I can get there. And it's been working out beautifully. So for you, I want you to get creative and flexible. I want you to keep your eye on what that perfect world situation is. But if it's not possible right now, what can you do instead of doing nothing? So can you work out at the office? I definitely have a set of dumbbells in my office. I have a private office, so I do have an advantage there. But sometimes during meetings, if it's something that I just have to listen to, I have my camera off and I'm like doing, bicep curls, might be doing squats. I kid you not. Like, I'm not just going to sit there and listen. Use your personal time to your advantage. Can you do your workouts while you're watching Netflix in the evening? My husband and I have a routine. Once dinner's done, we are on the couch and we are watching How I Met Your Mother reruns like every single night on repeat. Like, that's what we do. Sometimes we veer off and watch something else, usually not. But we're just sitting there. And a lot of times I'm working on the podcast or working on my weight loss coaching resources. But a lot of the other times I'm doing my physical therapy routine, or I'm like, look, I didn't wake up in time to do my workout. I get my workout in and it takes 15 minutes while I'm just sitting there doing nothing. When do you have that, on a calendar that's called white space? Like, that's really nothing's going on. When do you have these white spaces that you do have the ability to maybe work out, that you can fill in with a quick weight training routine? And especially if you're using my Just 3 method, I mean, you can do this like literally in under 20 minutes. It's about 15 minutes. So do you need someone to help in a few things around the house or watch the kids? So ask them, be brave. Ask them. You need community. It takes a village, you guys. This is not something we need to do on our own at all. Get creative, and no idea is dumb, even if it sounds impossible at the time. The weight training is a little calorie burn boost, and it has a slew of other healthy living, physical, medical benefits. So we don't want to skip this. As we were working together one-to-one, this would be, we would have, a good 45-minute session talking through these things. We would have a lot more to kind of dive into, more nitty-gritty details in the weeds of each kind of question and what really happened for you this week. But these are some solid foundational questions that you can use as journal prompts as you work through your weight loss journey and become your own weight loss coach. I want you to be able to do this on your own. I want you to feel confident and capable. We've answered a lot of questions. We have a lot of information for you to review. So this is your chance to find your shifts, your positive action shifts, your PSAs. So you have already selected actions as we answered these questions to help you progress. So I want you to review them and plug them into your weekly plan. I use a free weekly one-page planner that I found online. I just printed it off a few, and I have 4 or 5 weeks stapled together, and I use it when I do this exercise. This is my healthy living planner for the week. It's mostly my workouts and walking schedule, and one to two other things I want to focus on for eating. For example, I list what breakfast and lunch I'm going to make for the week. It's never like 30 different things. It's like all week during the week, I'm going to have these 2 things for this one thing for breakfast, this one thing for lunch. And I have a pretty solid snack schedule, so I don't need to remind myself, but I might even say, hey, last week I had this for lunch and that was kind of hard for me to maintain the prep. And I just choose something else that is a little easier. There are also miscellaneous to-dos on my printable. Usually I have to-dos for my podcast and my weight loss coaching business development, but it's simply just a one-pager. It's not super crazy and overloaded with all the things to do. It is a focus planner on your healthy living schedule, your weight loss journey. That's all that really is on there, you guys. And it's a focus point. It's a focus page. So you've had all this information. I want you to look back over all the different answers those times I said, hey, I want you to pick this one action for you to do, or I want you to identify some things for you to do that would be positive shifts to correct something that was a challenge. You already have those all written down. So I want you to pick your shifts and add them into your plan next week. So your one positive action for energy levels, sleep, mood, and or stress management, what is that going to be? What is your one shift to support maintaining your calorie budget or other general eating shifts that are going to support your weight loss routine? What is your one action for your schedule if you need to shift anything to support consistency? Same for walking and your fitness. So really right there, you guys, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish things to implement. And if that is too overwhelming for you, choose one of them. Literally just choose one of them. That is just as good. During your journal sessions, you may have come up with a lot of things to work on. This is not bad. This is actually wonderful. Believe me, if you stick to this personal check-in routine and then implement your tiny little positive shift actions for the week, you will tackle all your challenges with ease and will make consistency a breeze. We can't tackle everything at once. This process helps you maintain your strategy and then get laser focused on what tiny things can help you move the needle without overwhelming you. Keep this episode saved and come back to it every single week. You have the ability to be your very own weight loss coach and don't need me, although I'm here if you need support. Leave a question in the YouTube comments or send me a DM on Instagram. Small shifts for big wins, friend. So as you work through your weight loss journey, I want you to think about these 4 words. I want you to shift instead of quit. And keep that in mind because shifting is what really is going to get you to the end goal instead of quitting yet again. So that's the whole motto for this little workshop. And I want to take you behind the scenes again, just into my life. I have a lot of plants. I have a lot of house plants. I love them. I have them all over the house, and we have a beautiful front yard full of flowers and trees and other types of plants, lavenders, echinacea. We have a lemon tree, all types of beautiful plants. And the one thing we can learn from them is shifting instead of quitting. So what does that mean? How does a plant teach us that? Throughout the entire day, plants shift tiny amounts to reach the sun. They want to have full access to the sun. And all they have to do is just reach a little bit. You can see them move if you look at them at different times of day and as the sun shifts in the sky. So they don't stop reaching for the sun until the light is completely gone for the night. As soon as the sun starts to peak in the morning, they start reaching again. They are never quitting. So think about your plants, look to the flowers, and learn their lesson. Shift instead of quit. You got this, you guys. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. My goal, as always, is to help you find inspiration and excitement around healthy living and to spark curiosity and ultimately action to learn more about how you can feel and look your best without feeling overwhelmed as a busy mom. If this show resonated with you, I'd love to ask for your help in supporting the podcast so I can continue creating helpful episodes and offering free downloadable resources to as many busy moms as possible. Here are totally free ways you can help support the podcast. First, you can subscribe to the Health Hobby Podcast on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. And on Apple and Spotify, you can also leave a 5-star review. Subscribing and leaving reviews really do make a difference, so thank you in advance. Another great and free way to support the show is to share this episode either on your social media or directly with a friend who might enjoy today's topic. As a reminder, if you have content questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the YouTube comments. And if you're looking for free resources I've often mentioned in each episode, I keep them all in a handy place. Just click the free resources vault link in the show notes of any episode to access everything. You can also connect with me directly on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. The handle for all of them is at the Health Hobby Podcast. And last but not least, I have an epic community newsletter. It's a great way to go deeper on podcast topics and connect with me more personally. I share parts of my own healthy living and weight loss journey that only my email subs get access to. It's a fun and encouraging space where we build real conversation and community among busy moms working toward better health and weight loss together. To join the newsletter, again, it's totally free. Just scroll down to the show notes, click newsletter, and enter your email address. I'd be so excited to have you join me and the hundreds of other moms in our tight-knit, healthy living community. Hey there, me again. Quick disclaimer. Here on the Health Hobby Podcast, I share tips, insights, and ideas to help you on your weight loss and fitness journey. But I'm not your doctor or your personal health guru. Before diving into any nutrition or fitness plans I talk about, make sure to check in with your healthcare provider. They know your body best. Think of this podcast as your cheerleader in a place for healthy living idea inspiration, not your prescription pad. Stay safe, stay smart, and let's crush those goals together. Until next time.